Hello my friends, and welcome to Zentangle class number 71. I'm so very glad that you're here. We do not have live class tonight, but we do on the 26th if you'd like to join us. So this week is all going to be about borders. You can see we're going to start the first one off pretty simple. You just draw 2 double lines, and then you can draw a series of circles that touch each other. You can do 5, 7, 3, you can do a mix and match of all of those. And then you just draw another 2 sets of lines off the last bead and continue to link them together however you wish. You can swirl them together, you can wrap around, you can actually use this as a fill for a section on your Zentangle if you wish. You just kind of keep wrapping it and zigzagging it through your section however you need to, or you can do a series of lines or rows or columns that either cross each other just kind of straight across the section, or you can loop them and swirl them like we're doing with this one. So when I get up here back to kind of where it's intersecting, where right here, I'm going to skip it and jump underneath it so it looks like it goes behind. That's kind of the only trick. You can just make it go wherever you wish. Sometimes you want to make sure that that center circle is a little bit bigger. So if you have 5, you want to make sure that the third circle is the biggest and then it goes back down. Or if you have 7, you want to make sure that the third or fourth one is a little bit bigger. It'd be the fourth one, and then you go, the last 3 would get smaller. So it goes smaller to biggest, back to smaller. It's really the only trick. Going to stop here because you can understand how the pattern works. You can keep going all the way across if you want. I am going to get my pencil here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shading on the areas where it goes under another section. So just these little pieces here, I'm just going to make it a little bit darker just to kind of give it a little bit of contrast between the ones that go behind and the top ones. Optional, you don't have to do it, but I think it just adds a little bit of something to it. Very nice. So now we're going to go on to our second pattern. It's actually a border, so this is kind of the theme for today, is the borders, if I didn't say that. I'm just going to draw a straight line here and another straight line that's down. Mine is down at probably about a quarter, I don't know, maybe an inch or so to 3/4 of an inch. You don't have to make it that large. I'm going to do a very nice, kind of evenly spaced zigzag across the section. Mine kind of ends here. Yours might have more or less. And I'm going to draw a triangle inside of this top section here. Get my pen to work. And I'm not going to touch. So these lines are inside of the lines I already drew, and they do not touch anything else. Now I'm going to repeat that same process on the bottom triangles, coming up from the bottom line to the point and then back down, again not touching any other lines. Now I'm going to switch over to my larger marker. I'm just going to color in this top triangle that I drew inside of the original zigzag. Again, this is the one that I drew inside, not the actual zigzag itself. You can see on the left there in the picture. If you don't wish to draw, color yours in black, or if your Zentangle doesn't need this large black triangle, you can certainly swap it around and mix it up. So you could actually do the zigzag part, a really thick black line, and then you could put a pattern in this top section that we're coloring as well as the bottom section. You can play with it. You can put a whole bunch of different stuff inside of these little triangles. You can leave it a straight zigzag if you need a really white space. It's entirely up to you. You can add a border, of course, in the top and bottom. Whatever it is that you need for your Zentangle will be perfect. Now I'm going to go back to my original pen, and I'm going to, once I find it here, I'm going to draw the little squiggly lines, and I'm going to start in the center, right from the peak to the bottom, It's just a very random, kind of tight wave pattern. The lines to the right and to the left that we're going to draw in the section do not have to match the exact wave pattern I drew for the first one. It's completely up to you how you wish it. If you want yours to be very uniform, you can certainly match the pattern as much as you can. And again, these lines don't touch. They're just vertical lines that are wavy, kind of going in a random pattern. And again, you can switch it up however it is that you'd like. If this doesn't look good for the Zentangle, for whatever patterns you have left or right or top or bottom of this pattern, you can completely mix it up and change it however you need for your design. It's a pretty fun, versatile pattern, so it's a nice one to have in your little toolbox of patterns. We're going to go on to the third one. There's going to be 5 of them total. I'm going to draw a very slight waved line. I'm going to double it up, go down at least a ½ inch or so. Mine's a little bigger for the video. And then I'm going to do another waved line, and I'm going to double that up as well. Now in the center, we're going to draw these little flared triangles. So I'm going to do one arch line from the top to the bottom, go back up to the point, and draw 2 additional lines that go off the bottom. Start at the point where I left off and do the same thing. So you can see I always come back to that point. So I'm going to start on this end piece, flare down, flare down, flare down, and then come back from the last point, always coming back to the point to start, and then flare out when I get to the edge. Just going to slide over a little here. And I'm just going to keep working my way all the way across. You can use a thicker marker if you prefer this kind of a flare pattern to be a little bit more pronounced than what it shows in the little drawing on the left. And then these ones kind of just die off because it's the end of my pattern. Inside I'm going to draw kind of an arched, wonky little triangle inside there. This shape of this triangle inside matches the shape of my space. I'm going to start off drawing just a circle in the top right corner or peak, and color that in, leaving one little teeny tiny white space as my glare line or my light line. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Now the original design that I saw had just these triangles with these circles in it, so that's why I'm going to draw a couple of them just to show you that the circle stays in the right corner, the rightmost peak of your triangle. You can of course change this up however you wish. You can do like this here swoops to the right. I'm going to go up to the point on the right and go down to the left and have it swoop open that way, and maybe draw some lines inside here, or I could color it in if I need a little bit more contrast. You can draw some different things inside here, like here I'll just kind of play around and see what else. Maybe draw like a little, I don't know, let's see, a little black doubled up line here, and I'll just kind of color those in. It'll be on the top and the right side. And I'll just leave the bottom, I don't know, just leave it plain I guess, and then just do maybe some dots in here. You can mix and match, you can change it up, you can have a lot of fun with these. You can draw little critters in here. It's kind of a little peekaboo type design. Like this one here, I'll draw maybe just a bunch of circles that maybe start over here and get bigger as they go in the space, and they all touch each other, and then color in the background. It looks kind of neat. So again, these are patterns that or different types of details that we've learned in other patterns and other classes, and you can just mix and match how you want them. Or if you see something else, you can, like little sailboats, you can turn these into little sailboats. It's up to you how you want to do it. Of course, you want to finish off the rest of these triangles. I'm not going to color mine in, but you want to finish off the rest of these. And there technically would be one way over on the right here, but I would only see part of that. So again, you want to finish off the design, of course, but you can have a lot of fun with that one. It's a really, really nice one. Now we're going to go on to the fourth one, which is a little bit probably the most complicated of the 5. I'm going to start out with 2 parallel lines. Mine are about, well, they're supposed to be parallel. Just imagine that they are. And I'm going to draw a zigzag through here. So I'm just going to kind of come down a little bit, go up, and zigzag all the way across in kind of an even type of zig and zag. So you don't want to have one that's really skinny and then one that's really wide. You certainly can make it work that way. So if they're a little bit off, obviously it's not a problem, but if they're way off, it's going to change how the design looks. Now I'm going to work on the left side of each triangle. I'm going to double up the line on the top, and then come down below and double up there. So you should have 2 lines around the center. I'm going to do the same thing on the next one, only on the left side of my triangle. Go from the bottom to the top. So these are all the left sides of my triangles. I'm going to do it again. So it's one on the top and one on the bottom of the line, and then the last one here. Alright, so now we're going to draw a triangle in these spaces. It gets a little confusing, so I'm just going to draw little arrows. The triangles on the bottom sections are going to go to the right. So I'm going to start on the edge and draw 2 additional lines to complete this triangle. These do not touch. They just kind of come off and do it. So now this one here on the top sections are going to point to the left. Alright, so anything in these bottom ones are all the triangles going to point to the right. I'm just going to draw my lines across here. It's a little bit easier for me to draw it that way. Again, they stop short of that peak. They don't go all the way to the peak. I'm going to finish off my triangles here. So you're going to draw basically another triangle. That one you won't see. And then these top ones, you're going to go to the left. So I'm just going to draw my line, see how well I do. Again, they don't go to the peak or to the point on the opposite side. They just kind of stop before that. That one's a little off, but that's okay. And then I'm going to draw these triangles inside. Now I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to start back on these left sides. Oops, I forgot a section here, sorry. Draw my triangle in there, excuse me. Alright, now I'm going to draw another line on this left side, the top and the bottom. Repeat that all the way across. So this is the left side of our original triangle. I'm going to double them up again. So you should have like 5 lines now, the center one, and then 2 additional lines on the top and the bottom of each of these left sides of the triangle. Okay, and now we're going to repeat the same exact triangle pattern. The bottom ones are going to go to the right, and the top ones are going to go to the left, just like we've done. And we're going to keep continuing on that same pattern of drawing the extra lines and then drawing additional triangles until the entire section is filled. Isn't that great? It's just a great pattern. Alright, now we're going to do our very final pattern. And we are going to draw, I'm going to do mine wavy. You can do yours straight across, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do 2 parallel ones that have kind of a similar wave pattern. And then I'm going to draw an X, and I want a rounded X. So I'm going to start at the top line, come down, and arch down to the bottom line, and meet in the middle here. And do the same thing going up that way. So your X should be, I'm just going to draw one really quick. It should come down, arch over, and then it should arch up. So you're going to have it be more of a rounded X. And then you're going to continue on making X's across your pattern, across your section, and the same type of pattern. So you're going to round it and then go up, and then round it and go down. And kind of meet in the middle if you can. Keep your X's approximately the same. If your lines aren't completely parallel, you're going to have some that are a little bit off, so don't worry about it. If some are bigger, it's just going to have more of an oval look than a circle. Great! Now inside here, I'm going to draw a giant circle. I'm going to go all the way on the top, and I'm going to draw on the lines as much as I can so that it overlaps or touches, leaving the two spaces on the sides. This one here is going to be a little bit bigger because my section's bigger. This one here is going to be a little bit more of an oval type of shape because I want to make sure I have those two spaces on the right and left. That was kind of ovular too. And then this one here, well, just because of my mess up with my hand, is going to be an oval too. So try and get them circular, but don't worry about it if they're not. I'm going to work in the top of this X here. I'm going to draw basically these arch V shapes that are going to not touch. They're just going to come to a point until I fill up the section. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the bottom, only they're going to be the opposite direction, so the V's point up. They're kind of like little tent shapes. Just like that. I'm going to go across the rest of the X sections and do that same type of pattern all the way across. So now that I have all those finished, I'm going to fill in these little cat eye sections. So I'm going to just do a rounded arch. It should follow the shape of whatever center you have. So this one here is pretty circular, so I'm just going to kind of come up and draw circular type arch lines until I get to that outside point. And here's a little bit more of an oval shape, so I'm just going to follow that same shape. If you don't follow the shape, it's going to look weird. It's going to look like something is off. So just follow whatever arch of the end of your circular sphere, your oval or sphere that you have in the middle, and just fill that in. Again, if you don't like this type of pattern, you can certainly color that in. You could use like pencil or a type of gray color, or you could add actual color. You could just color it in solid black if you need something with a little bit more contrast. Whatever it is that you want to put in these sections, it's entirely up to you. Yes, only see a little bit on this edge, nothing fancy here. So that's the actual end of the pattern. Now I'm going to color in the spheres and make them look a little bit more 3D. So this is kind of one of those things you're just going to have to play around with. I'm using a very soft pencil. If the pencils that you have a very firm graphite tip, or you're using a mechanical pencil, you're probably not going to get the same sort of look. So this is a very soft pencil. And by soft I mean that it makes a really kind of a fuzzy line. It's not going to be something that's really firm or crisp or clear. It's just kind of a, I don't know, soft. So I'm going to go all the way around the edge, as you can see, and I'm just holding my pencil about halfway or even 3/4 of the way down the pencil stick, and I'm going to color in with the pencil the darkest of around the very outside edge. After I do that, I'm going to fill it in a little bit more, just kind of feather it in, just going back here quickly to add a little bit more dark stuff around the very outside edge. I'm just going to draw a little, kind of an oval on the top right. You can barely see it, but it's just kind of an oval, and that's just my guide. That's just so that you can see that I don't want to color in that little section. That's like what they call the glare line or the light line, where you have to imagine that you have a light source kind of hanging off in the top right section, and then that's where the light would sort of reflect off of that glass or sphere, that shiny sphere. So now I'm going to go around again. I'm going to do a little bit more pencil line there, and now I'm going to take the tip of my finger. I'm just going to smudge it all the way in. I'm just going to go around several times and smudge it all the way in. Take my eraser and just add that little bit of white space back in there so I can kind of see where my light line is. I know it's hard to see on the video, but you can see it a little bit better on the left picture. So now I'm going to go back, because once you smear the lead, or the graphite, once you smear that, it lightens the color, obviously, because you're basically taking that pencil and you're moving it to a different section. So I'm just going to go back and add a little bit darker pencil around the very outside edge and add just a smidge to kind of show off that glare line right along the edge of the glare line. That is completely optional, and you can make this shading as dark as you'd like. For the sake of the video, I'm not going to add any more, as far as the length of the video, I mean. I'm not going to add any more, but you can go through and you're going to fill in all the rest of the ovals. I do hope that you enjoyed our border patterns for today. Remember that you can actually use all of these as fills, like a fill pattern for a section on your Zentangle. I do hope to see you in the library if you're able to join us next Thursday the 26th from 6:30 to 7:30. If not, we will be back here again next Thursday virtually. I hope that you stay safe, you stay healthy, and that you have a great week. Bye-bye!